Hello, my name is Janni Samratanga. I'm a quantum transformation and embodiment coach. I help business leaders and social leaders transform stress into vitality, pain into purpose, limiting, painful, negative, blocking energies into inspiring business ideas, social development ideas. Welcome to the #1 knowledge sharing session of the NLP series for success. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. I have studied NLP more than 20 years ago. NLP essentially is part of my life. It transformed almost every aspect of my life. Mental, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, financial, essentially every area of my life kept improving after I learned NLP. Now, having studied NLP and having practiced NLP in my life, I essentially have mastered this subject, where I can now call it a quantum NLP experience. Why I call it quantum is, it is no more just about mind and how to program the mind. I bring in different perspectives from the subjects of energy healing, subjects like Reiki and Qigong, mindfulness meditation, Buddhist Vipassana meditation, and many other subjects that I experienced during the last 20 years. So once again, I welcome to the #1 knowledge sharing session of the NLP series for success. Today, I like to talk about something I deeply felt in my heart. Yes, something I felt in my heart. Now, I'm from Sri Lanka, and of course, I am connected with many other people from different parts of the world. Although I'm a Sri Lankan, thanks to technology and social networking capabilities, I'm a child of this global village. I'm a child of this whole universe, if at all. And something touched my heart deeply. Observing what's happening around me in the present times, both in Sri Lanka and overseas. That is, people are experiencing lots of disappointment in their lives. Irrespective of the age group, irrespective of the fact that the person is from a developing country or a developed, rich country. Everywhere, across borders, majority of people are experiencing disappointment, resentment, hurt, and also anger, hurt, sadness, especially about what's happening around them. I myself have been experiencing this, especially during the pandemic. And thanks to NLP and my experience in meditation, helped me transform those painful emotions, painful thoughts into something purposeful and inspiring. So essentially, my life and everyone connected to me, their lives were also getting better in many ways. So I understand and appreciate the importance of this topic. I want to shed some light about what to do when things don't go the way we plan. Yes. What can you do when things don't go the way you expected in your life? We experience disappointment when our expectations are not met. These expectations can be about our finances, education, love and relationships, physical health and well-being, emotional health and well-being, or in terms of relationships with others. And sometimes, many of us, specifically those of us who are in the path of spirituality, are also experiencing disappointment in terms of peace of mind, easiness in the heart. Maybe we are meditating, maybe we are praying, maybe we are doing a lot of rituals, but that promised peace, that promised joy, that promised sense of liberation, freedom, perhaps is not experienced in the way that is stated by the teachers or by the books. And if you look at life from the beginning, from our childhood, we certainly have experienced disappointment and things doesn't go the way we expect. My question is, have we learned how to deal with disappointment and how to take care of our mind, body, and emotions when things don't go the way we plan? Now, over the last 14 plus years, specifically during my business and career as a coach, I've noticed that very many people have not really learned this art of living life. They perhaps have learned many subjects. They have a lot of knowledge, but something is missing. That is knowledge about life, knowledge about self. So my intention is to add some value to your life through this conversation and help you find yourself free from any conditioning, any programming that you have bought into over the years. My intention is to help you set free. My intention is to help you find unconditional happiness, unconditional joy, irrespective of your life situation. Can you feel free, happy, and peaceful and content? I know that sounds over-promising, isn't it? Yes, that may sound something really up in the sky and not attainable. Well, I'm here to say that it is possible for you to experience life in a blissful way, irrespective of the life condition, irrespective of any physical condition you may be in a given time. How do I say that? Well, that is something I have learned. If there's anything I have learned super solidly during this interesting thing called life, is that I found something about myself which cannot be defined by outside. Of course, the subject NLP and other meditations and energy sciences definitely guided me to find these treasures within me. So, without taking any more time to talk about me and my experiences about this, let's get into the subject and try to understand something that really can change your life positively and bring about a sustainable positive transformation. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to feel. My vision in life is to add value. And I do that with 3-step strategies when it comes to people who are in touch with me. I enable, empower, and help enlighten people to their highest potent divine self. Okay. So what can we do when things don't go the way we plan? First thing, we got to understand what is life and how it happens. I see life happening in 2 ways. The life story you have as a story running in your head. In some language you are thinking, and there's a narrative in your head about what's happening in your life, isn't it? In a given time, you have some kind of a narrative that is running in your head about who you are, what you are, where you are, what you want, what you don't want. You have some kind of conversation running in your head about what you think, what you believe as your life story. And there's another life. Yes, there's another life, which is completely independent from the life story. Have you thought about that before? That there is a life unconditionally free from the story that you're telling in your head about yourself. Now, my objective is to help you get in touch with that dimension of that unconditional life, which is flowing through you in every cell of your body, is pulsating with that life. But it doesn't have a story or a narrative. It doesn't have a story or a narrative. It's pure silence, bliss, and complete emptiness. I know. Very many of us are even afraid of the word emptiness. Wow, because we always want to be full of something, isn't it? Full of money, full of love, full of energy, full of this, that, isn't it? Yeah? Yes. But this life, the other dimension of life, which is within you every moment, completely independent of the story that is running in your head, is actually empty of words, empty of any condition or a programming. It's so empty that it is full of, it's filled to the brim with pure positive potential. Let me repeat it to you. The second aspect of your life, the life that makes you breathe, the life that makes you smile, the life that makes your heart beat, the life that makes you think, the life that makes you essentially exist as you are, the life that makes you think that story is full of pure positive potential. It's life. It's not life story. So what is this life story? Life story essentially is the language, is the narrative, is the conversation that is running in our head. Sometimes it is positive, sometimes it's negative, and sometimes it's neutral as well. When we have positive thoughts running, positive conversation, positive narrative about our life, we feel good, we feel happy, we feel inspired, and we feel good essentially. And when we have a narrative about our life story, which is negative, we don't feel good, isn't it? We feel down, drained, depressed, and sometimes even angry and resentful. You can relate to this? Yes, it's very easy to understand, isn't it? And yes, there are times in our life, there are moments where we are just neutral. The narrative about our life story essentially is something neutral, not very positive, not negative. It's just at the middle. And therefore, our emotions and the way we feel about it essentially they're meant to be neutral. So, now, when things don't go the way we plan, how does that make you feel? How does that make all of us as human beings feel? It's not nice. Don't tell me that you feel nice when things go wrong or things doesn't go the way you feel, you expect. You don't feel good, isn't it? You don't feel good. Now let's understand the psychology behind it. When we set expectations or plans, we set these goals and objectives, we do this planning. At the level of mind, we identify as conscious mind. Conscious mind. So conscious mind is considered as only around 10% of our total mind. Now, what is the 90%? if conscious mind is only 10%, what is the 90%? The 90% of the mind essentially is the subconscious mind. One can use the word the unconscious mind. Well, in the subject of NLP, we use both these terms to explain the same thing. In this discussion, let's use the word subconscious. So it's not the conscious mind, it's the subconscious mind. As in, this part of the mind is subservient to the logical, rational, reasoning, analytical 10% of the conscious mind. Although it is 90%, which is really huge and massive in its impact and capacity, it is subservient to the conscious, logical, reasoning mind. So we set goals, we define our intentions and plans. We think about life as past, present, and future, like something linear. I had a past, I am in the now, and I have a future that is not there yet. You're thinking about life almost as something linear. This is why in the subject of NLP, we even talk about a concept called timeline. Maybe we'll talk about that topic on another day. Every time you think about your life story, you have a reference point about a past, which you think and believe has happened and it's over. But you're thinking about all those memories in the now. At the same time, you are thinking about a future time-space reality, which you think and believe is not in the now, has not yet happened. You really believe it has not yet happened. And then you're present in this moment, and you know it is not the past, it's not the future, I'm here in the now. However, I'm accessing those past memories and future ideas, thoughts about future from the now. So essentially, can you see that everything about past and present is also happening in the now? That's right. Yes. So the past is in the now as you think about your past, be it positive or negative. And the future that has not happened yet, be it positive or negative, you're thinking about it in the now. And when we set goals, we set that with our conscious, logical, reasoning mind. So what is this 90% the subconscious mind is doing in our life? What is its role? Subconscious mind essentially is the part of the mind that runs our body. Now, your brain is functioning, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're feeling, maybe you are tasting and smelling something. Your heart is beating, you're breathing, you're existing. You're not even thinking about what's happening inside your body, isn't it? You're not consciously doing your breathing. You can pay attention and become aware of it, but you're not consciously doing it. You're not consciously beating your heart. Essentially, your unconscious mind or the subconscious mind is the part of the mind that runs the whole body function. It is the part of the mind that registers everything that happened in your life as data stored from head to toe. Yes. So your body is essentially the unconscious mind, and in every cell, in every nerve, in terms of your brain, in every brain cell, there's some data. All that happened to you during your lifetime up until this moment is stored as some kind of data. And that database essentially is your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is also the part of the mind that governs emotions, positive, negative, neutral. Anything that you identify as emotions is managed by the subconscious mind. In other words, when someone is conscious, they're not necessarily happy or they're not unhappy. Most probably they are just feeling neutral, but they're not going to be happy or unhappy. They will be just conscious about what's happening, fully present in the moment. But when someone is unconscious, then we have these emotions surfacing. This is also another topic that we need to explore on another day. So for the moment, let's focus on our intention. Understanding what to do when things don't go the way we plan in life, right? So we set intentions using the conscious mind. And there's something called subconscious mind. It is the storehouse of all memories. It's the database, which the part of the mind runs the body. So in a given time, when we say that I'm disappointed, I'm unhappy, I feel sad, even frustrated or disappointed or depressed because things don't go the way I plan. When you make a statement like that, what do you think? Are you conscious or have you become unconscious? What do you think is the dominant part of the mind is in the play or is active? When we feel disappointed, we are not necessarily conscious. We are unconscious. That's why we feel disappointment and sadness and frustration and even angry. And we feel it in our whole body. If not managed, these disappointments can even make people sick, physically sick. During my career as a coach and a trainer, hypnotherapist, and an energy healer, I have helped so many people cure physical ailments simply by changing their mindset. In different occasions, I also help people change their life force energy, the stuck energy, into something purposeful. And their sicknesses, which they were on medication for a long time, suddenly get healed. So when we experience disappointment, we got to understand that my attention in a given time is about what went wrong. But even when things go wrong according to my expectations, right? I have some expectations, but they don't go as the way I plan. So I call it like things going wrong. Please understand that's just a narrative running in your head. It's not your life. Your life is untouched, intact, and completely present for you to experience every moment, regardless of the level of disappointment you may be experiencing. So now we come into the discussion about attention. When we set goals, we feel these expectations, which is very uplifting, motivating, inspiring. In other words, there's this rush of dopamine in our brain. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that makes us feel motivated to accomplish things in life. And then you take action. When there's motivation, you take action and you start moving towards this desired direction. From which part of the mind you operate in a given time when you set intentions? Of course, you consciously set goals and you consciously start acting. Now, did you forget that you have 90% of the mind behind you? Yes. So 90% of your subconscious mind is also in the process of doing something in its own way behind the screen. So you set goals, you have expectations, you start working towards it. As long as this rush of hormone, this dopamine rush is there, you feel excited, you feel joyful and energized. But you know that in life, everything doesn't remain the way it is all the time. One thing is for sure in life, that things change every moment. Every moment, things are changing. Change is actually the only permanent thing in life. Everything else is absolutely impermanent. But change is certainly permanent. Everything is keep changing. However, we have an idea about our life, a story running in our head, and we want things to be permanent. We want things to be as it is, as exactly I have written in my book, right? We want the narrative to be directed exactly the way we expect and to be screened on the screen of life like a movie. However, for every human being who's living now, every single human being who ever existed before us, and certainly for every single human being who is ready to come to experience life, certainly will go through one thing, that is, they will have a narrative running in their head about what they want. But when you look at the screen projected and the real movie running on the screen of life, it's definitely going to be something different. So what I'm saying to you is, with that 10% of that little mind, whatever we think doesn't necessarily go the way we expect. And we have to expect that every moment in our life. Did you get that? That things will not go the way I keep telling myself every moment. We got to expect that. And when you expect that, will there be any disappointment in your life? There won't be any disappointment in your life, isn't it? There won't be. But if you expect the goal you set, the intentions and the plans you set by using that 10% of the mind, forgetting that you have something called subconscious mind, which is 90% behind the screen, affecting you, affecting your whole body, whole neurology, whole nervous system. If you expect things to go exactly the way you write in your head, you are preparing to be disappointed. And you will not be free. You will not be free to choose the most potent, most effective and efficient, most purposeful course of action when things don't go the way you plan. Why? Why is that? Because when you are not ready to deal with disappointment or things not going the way you expect, when you're not ready, your attention is on the problem. Your attention is on the condition, the so-called life situation. And your attention is not shifted towards finding a new solution, a creative solution, a new intention. So if your attention is on disappointment, you bound to experience something called blame. Expectations, disappointment, and blame. You might end up blaming yourself or someone else. Either way, it is dysfunctional. It is not a progressive place to be in life. It's essentially not a nice place to operate. Self-blame or blaming to someone else is not going to bring any result, any change for that matter. You might actually will continue to feel stuck, feel sad and feel upset, and even might get sick. And your achievements will get further delayed. So the first thing to do when things don't go the way you expect is to find out where you are paying attention to. Are you focusing on the problem, what went wrong, and not feeling good? If that is the case, it's a matter of shifting your body posture, taking a good long deep breath. Just like when you would drive a car, even if you drive or you don't drive, you've seen people changing the gears. You change the gear, you change the focus of attention. 2, that life dimension I mentioned to you at the very beginning of this session. The dimension of life that is inside every cell in your body unconditionally, free from all conditions, has pure potential life force energy. It is not the narrative, your mind is zero. In other words, you're not thinking thoughts, but you have suddenly got anchored into that aspect of yourself, which is liberating you. From that place, you can now start setting new set of intentions, new set of objectives, goals, and plans. You can change the course of life. You can begin to change the course of life. This is a higher perspective. This is about having a higher perspective, a bird's eye view, a helicopter view, that you are not attached to your narrative. You are free. You're really free to let go of your attachment to your narrative. The moment you let go of that, it sets free some life force energy that is stuck there. Every time when you think negative thoughts, every time when you feel disappointed, you feel resentment, depressed, sad, angry, frustrated, that's your life. That's your precious life, which is a gift. So your gift is essentially wasted. What is the first step? Anytime when you notice you're not thinking positive thoughts, you're not feeling good in your body, not feeling good in your heart, it's the first thing to do. take a good long deep breath. And you take another deep breath. And you take another deep breath. If you want a technique, try to breathe minimum 17 seconds, just breathing. And increase that 17 seconds to another 17 seconds, just breathing. When you have done that, extend that 17 seconds, little more, another 17 seconds. And if you're really good, you can push for another 17 seconds. So you keep breathing until you pass 1 minute. Just breathing. That itself is good enough to reset your attention, because energy flows where attention goes. Every time when you pay attention to something positive, you're going to feel more positive. You're going to see many more positive things about life. The doubts fade away, worries fade away. Similarly, when you pay attention to something negative, be it news, be it someone telling you something, be it something you found on social media, even about your own physical body, if you pay attention to something wrong that you don't like about yourself, that you haven't accepted about yourself fully yet, it is going to increase. Have you noticed that in your life? So now, let's move into the next part of our discussion. What to do when things don't go the way I plan in life. So life is like a river. Life is like a river. It's flowing. It's flowing in a direction. Who sets the direction? Conscious logical mind. Who gives the energy or power it or empower it? The subconscious mind, because it's the body, right? Just because you think about a good plan, you're not going to achieve it. You got to do it. You got to act on your goals and start working towards it. Then you will end up having some kind of results. If you don't like the results, you keep putting energy until you get the results you desire. Now, when a river flows, any moment of time of that journey of river, the water does not know what is its next course of action or where it's flowing next. Water doesn't know, but it still keeps flowing. It will automatically find its course of direction. In our lives also, that second dimension of the life was energy that is making everything happen, is anyway taking its course of action. It's just that because we have this thinking, logical reasoning mind, and we have this thing called language, word, and we are so obsessed about thinking and the narrative running in our mind, we don't get to fully experience the natural flow of life that is flowing within us. The natural flow of life that is flowing within us is not known anytime. Because once it's known, it's data. It's a language, it's a conversation, it's a narrative. It's the 10% of the mind filtering based on beliefs, values, previous experiences, personality types, previous decisions in life. The logical conscious mind, based on some kind of filtering, has given some meaning, some interpretation. But you will never know the real direction of life that is flowing through you. You will get an idea about where it's heading. So based on that idea, you will take action. Your subconscious mind will fuel by giving the energy. And remember, subconscious mind is also the past data. All the experiences that had happened to you is in your subconscious mind as a programming. So let's say about money. You set a plan to achieve a certain amount of money, and you have a set of actions to accomplish. No sooner you start working towards that goal, there are so many obstacles on your way. Have you experienced that in your life? I sure have had enough of those experiences. That is because although we logically consciously say that I want so much of money and I want to somehow earn it, 90% of your mind, which is the subconscious mind, perhaps believing otherwise. So this is where the discussion of beliefs comes into play, and also values. Let's say someone in his or her childhood didn't have enough money. They somehow survived this little child experience lack and limitations by observing their parents, and the lack and limitations, and money is scarce, money is difficult, money is hard, money is also evil, perhaps. All these beliefs are embedded in the child's mind. But because things were scarce, this child is now motivated to have more of what he or she thought or felt didn't have enough when he or she was small. So the very motivation to have more of it is acknowledging the belief that I don't have enough yet. Did you get that? This is why you set goals, you have plans, and you keep having expectations. I'm going to make it happen. Just now I have great goal to achieve. But no sooner you start taking action towards the direction, everything starts collapsing on the way. This was my experience, and I think this is the experience of many, many people. It's bound to be. This is the way of life. This is the way of mind. But when we understand that, and when we learn that second dimension of our life, when we know that we are anyway free and anyway we are complete and adequate and good enough, we don't suffer by holding on to those ideas we borrowed from our parents, from our socialization process. We can begin to feel free no matter what. So remember that you have something called subconscious mind, and it can have many limiting beliefs about the very goal, objective, and plan that you're working towards. Especially if you are having disappointments, that simply means it's time to pause. It's time for a break. It's not time for action. Further and further and further action out of anxiety, worry, fear, doubt. Very many people do not know how to pause, how to take a break, how to press the reset button. Because when you press the reset button, you can objectively make an assessment of what's happening in your life, what's happening in your mind. Have a look at that screen on the projected in your mind and change the narrative, like direct a new film. So the pause button is very important. Resetting is very important, because that is where you can meet your inner child. You can meet that hurt child, worried child, the child who always felt, I'm not good enough. So always wanted to prove himself or herself and kept on trying to achieve but never felt satisfied. Yes. So when things don't go the way you expect, make sure you press the reset button. You take a break, take a small vacation. If you can't do any of that, at least pay attention to your breathing. That's good enough. Trust me, just breathing is good enough. And I look forward discussing many more advanced techniques that you can use in your life anytime to transform pain to purpose, negativity into something positive, fear, worry, doubt into positive expectation. There is a way to do that. So with that, I'd like to wrap up today's knowledge sharing session. In this knowledge sharing session, my intention was to give you some perspective about life, a higher perspective, that when you have that kind of perspective, you can begin to feel better. And I wanted to give you 2 tips, essentially, that you can use anytime when you have some disappointments. That is to breathe and to really pause and press the reset button so that you can investigate, objectively assess what's going on, especially the 90% of the subconscious mind, and understand how those hidden programming, like bugs in a computer, affected the life outcomes. And that is exactly where the subject of NLP, meditation, Reiki, energy healing, all that comes into play. That is where we can make changes, real, permanent, lasting changes within ourselves. We can change those programming just as much as we do the changes in our computer. It's almost like loading the computer programming on the screen and changing the coding. We can do the same with our minds. I look forward connecting with you and adding value to your life. Thank you. Stay happy, blessed, and joyful. Jai Shri.